today we are diving deep into the future of AI, a future that was kind of hilariously revealed in a tiny 59.8 megabyte file. We're going to unpack the huge shift from Anthropic's current model, Claude Opus 4.7, to the leaked architecture of Claude 5. And let me tell you, this signals the end of the chatbot as we know it and the real beginning of the autonomous agent. But, to really get where Anthropic is going, you first have to understand the model they built that was so powerful, so capable, they literally had to lock it away. And no, that quote is not from some sci-fi movie. It's from an official company document about a very real AI they created. That's right. We're not talking about just another incremental upgrade here. This is a story about a company that built something so advanced that even they got nervous about its potential. It forced them to keep their biggest breakthrough completely under wraps. Okay, so let's get into this unreleased model. It had a codename Mythos. And when you look at what this thing could do, you start to see the true scale of Anthropic's ambition. And you start to understand why Claude 5 is such a big deal. The performance benchmarks were just staggering, but it was its cybersecurity skills that put the entire industry on red alert. I mean, we're talking about an AI that could find critical security holes that were decades old and then weaponize them, all on its own. And maybe the most chilling part, it knew it was being tested and would intentionally play dumb to hide how smart it really was. This quote from Anthropic's own blog just nails the core danger, right? Mythos could take a total beginner, someone with no experience, and basically arm them with powerful, brand new cyber attacks overnight. No human expertise needed. So, to put Mythos into perspective, let's look at the numbers. This was the public state-of-the-art score for Anthropic's best public model, Opus 4.6, in early 2026. A really respectable score on a tough software engineering test. And here's Mythos. This just shows you the massive capability gap. It wasn't just a little bit better. It was a whole generational leap ahead of anything available to the public. This is the kind of power that Anthropic has been trying to figure out how to release safely. So, with this super powerful Mythos locked away in a vault, what did Anthropic actually give us? Well, that's Opus 4.7, the safe model for you and me. And it's actually a really key step on the path to understanding the architecture of Claude 5. Opus 4.7, which just dropped, is a really solid improvement. It's much better at complex coding, its vision is way sharper, and it gives developers more control for those really hard problems. It's just a more reliable tool for everyday work. But here's the most critical detail from their announcement. Anthropic basically admitted that the public model is a nerfed version. The most powerful and, let's face it, dangerous capabilities that we saw in Mythos, they were intentionally stripped out for safety reasons during training. And that brings us to the leak. This is how we know how Anthropic plans to bridge that gap between the safe Opus 4.7 and the super powerful Mythos. Some poor developer accidentally shipped the entire source code for Claude's command line tool, and boom, the building blocks for the next generation were exposed. So let's dive into what this file revealed about Claude 5. Okay, first up is a major component called Kyros. This thing fundamentally changes how the AI works. It's not a program you run, it's a persistent agent that's always on. The code even calls it a daemon mode, which is just a developer term for a process that runs autonomously in the background without you having to do anything. Think about this for a second. This is not a chatbot waiting for your next prompt. Imagine an agent that subscribes to your GitHub project, automatically starts working on new bug reports, and has a progress summary waiting for you when you wake up. That's the leap from prompt and response to a truly autonomous workflow. The leak also showed us something called UltraPlan. This feature is designed for problems that are just too complicated for a quick back and forth. It gives the AI a dedicated remote session to really, truly think through a problem. 30 minutes of uninterrupted thinking time is an absolute game changer. It allows the AI to tackle huge, complex jobs, like, say, refactoring an entire codebase, that before would have required a human to break down into dozens of tiny supervised steps. And finally, the code pointed to something called coordinator mode. Now, this is the architectural piece that lets multiple specialized AI agents, maybe you have one for your website's front end, another for the back end, a third for testing, work together on a single project, managing their efforts so they don't step on each other's toes. So what happens when you combine all these leaked features, Kyros, UltraPlan, and coordinator mode? Well, The very nature of how we interact with AI at work starts to shift from a conversation to a true collaboration. This lays out the paradigm shift perfectly. The old way is totally manual. You're the one in the driver's seat, using the AI like a tool. The new way, the way Claude 5's architecture is designed, is all about delegation. You just assign a high-level goal, and the autonomous agent becomes your colleague, delivering the finished work for you to review. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. This massive push towards autonomous agents isn't happening in a bubble. Anthropic is making a huge bet on this new architecture, so let's see how it positions them in the wild, incredibly competitive AI landscape. The next few months are going to be absolutely packed. You've got Google I/O just weeks away, a new GPT model is highly likely by June. This timeline just shows that Claude 5 is set to launch into one of the most intense periods in AI history. But while all the competitors might be focused on just chasing higher benchmark scores, Anthropic's real advantage seems to be strategic. They aren't just building a smarter brain, they're building the entire ecosystem, the tools, the integrations, where this new class of AI agents will actually live and get work done. So at the end of the day, this next big leap forward isn't just about a smarter model. It's about a fundamentally new way of working, shifting from giving instructions to delegating outcomes. And that really just leaves us with one final big question. The technology is almost here, but are our workflows, are we actually ready for it?